Here are 277 Bloons facts. There are 4 Chinese exclusive hero skins, one for Quincy, Sai, Adora, and Sada. The secret red Sada skin can only be unlocked by purchasing the Dart Monkey Deluxe plush and redeeming one of the secret codes it comes with. The description of very quick shots is incorrect. It does not attack 33% faster. Instead, the attack cooldown is reduced by 33%, making it shoot about 50% faster than a base Dart Monkey. What does make it shoot 33% faster is the triple shot upgrade. So a triple shot throws 3 darts instead of 1 and attacks roughly twice as fast as a base Dart Monkey. The Bloons move slower than normal on the new map Lost Crevasse. The Super Monkey fan club can't transform crossbows, spike bolts, or even the Plasma Monkey fan club. Acid and normal damage types are the same in that they can pop every type of balloon. The Worn Hero's Cape isn't allowed in primary monkeys only mode. The footprint of a tower is the space it occupies when placing it. A tower can only be placed if its footprint doesn't overlap with another tower or any terrain it can't be placed on. A footprint is either a circle or rectangle, with the most common sizes being small, medium, and large, coming in at 6, 7, and 8 unit radii respectively. The largest footprint is the Sun Temple and Sun God with a rectangle of 37 by 40, while the Gyrofalcon, Phoenix, Hot Sauce Creature, and others are tied for the smallest with a radius of 0. The Juggernaut's Spiked Ball is larger than its footprint by 1 unit. The Enhanced Eyesight upgrade grants the Juggernaut 50% more knockback and is why it's the better crosspath if you're not going for an Ultra Juggernaut. The Ultra Jug's main ball splits twice, once when it's used half its pierce and once when it's used all of its pierce, for a total of 12 smaller balls. These smaller balls have equal stats to the normal Juggernaut, but with 50 pierce and no knockback. The red and lead Bloons are tied for the slowest Bloon, moving at 25 units per second. This is the length that we measure maps with and is called red Bloon seconds. Scrapyard is the longest map with 60.7 RBS, and Blonze is the shortest with 4. This one's a bit confusing, but the Super Monkey fan club prioritizes transforming non-transformed Dart Monkeys closest to the one that activates its ability. If fewer than 9 non-transformed Dart Monkeys exist on the map, the ability reapplies the transformation to some transformed Dart Monkeys, resetting the transformation time of that one to 15 seconds. Transformed Dart Monkeys inherit any pierce, attack speed, range, and camo detection upgrades that have been purchased, and they are given a minimum range of 40. The Moab has the most skins of any blimp, with 9 different versions, not including the base look. Normal Bloons have the same hitbox as red Bloons, despite being visually smaller or larger. Moab class Bloons do have different size hitboxes, correlating to how large they look. The Enhanced Eyesight upgrade also increases the dart's projectile speed. Every 10th shot by the sharpshooter is a crit that deals 50 damage instead of 6, and the Crossbow Master ups its critical damage to 80 instead of its normal 8. You should pair the Crossbow Master with a 3-2-0 Berserker Brew, as it lets him 2-shot ceramics without needing crits. Depending on if AMD is active, it'll either turn them into a Rainbow Bloon or 1 HP ceramics and pop them completely with the next shot. Without the Elk, it'll turn the ceramics into tons of blue Bloons that'll pierce cap it. The Bad and ZOMG move at the same speed of 4.5 units per second, or 0.18 times the speed of a red balloon. After being damaged, Regrow Bloons will regenerate 1 layer every 3 seconds. The Test Bloon can't have the Camo, Fortified, or Regrow Bloon properties. When it leaks, it doesn't drain any lives, and it doesn't give any cash if you pop it. The Boomerang Monkey couldn't always switch its throwing hand. It was first added with the Ambidextrous Rang's Monkey Knowledge Point in version 18 and became a part of the base tower in version 22. When this happened, Ninja Kiwi replaced Ambidextrous Rangs with Recurring Rangs, which allows the Boomerang to rotate in a full another circle before returning if they haven't reached their pierce limit yet. The Test Moab is affected by its speed ramping on rounds 81 and up, but its health remains the same. Other interactions with the Test Moab are that Monkey Pirates, Pirate Lord, and the Navarch can't grapple it. Moab Shove doesn't slow it, and the Bloon Master Alchemist will target it with its shrinking potions, but they won't have any effect. Ricocheting Glaives didn't always ignore line of sight. Before version 34, they used to get eaten by nearby obstacles. Regardless of targeting priority, the Bouncing Glaives will target the closest Bloon after contact. Despite its appearance, the Orbiting Glaives of the Glaive Lord is an area of effect that damages Bloons inside it at a constant rate of 20 times per second. the orbiting glaives are purely visual. The Glaive Lord can re-hit bloons it's already hit after 0.6 seconds. It also applies a damage over time effect to the first Moab class bloon it hits, dealing 100 damage to it per second for 10 seconds. With the long-range rangs upgrade, the orbital glaive's area of effect size is increased by 15%, and when upgraded further to red hot rangs, the damage of the orbital glaives and base attack are both increased. The Glaive Dominus has 6 different ways it can damage a balloon. Its main glaives, the first balloon it hits gets a shred damage over time effect, its orbiting glaives, its Moab press attack, the press's explosion, and the explosion's damage over time. The Glaive Dominus also applies a buff to all primary monkeys on screen, including other paragons, increasing their attack speed by about 11.11%. The Golden Bloon doesn't appear on Deflation, Chimps, Freeplay, or Sandbox mode. They do drop monkey money every time they're popped though. If the Golden Bloon is fortified, it drops double monkey money even if its fortification is stripped, and in co-op, all players receive the same reward for popping it. The Kylie Boomer's rehit isn't based on the Boomerang's direction. No, it's based on time. It can re-hit bloons every 0.3 seconds. The Moab Press keeps its Kylie attack as is and adds a new knockback rank that can push back blimps. The Moab Domination's knockback rank can target and attack through obstacles, and it has almost double the range of its main attack. This used to have infinite range, but back in version 7.0, it was reduced to 100 units. The Fortified property can only be applied to lead, ceramic, and Moab class bloons, and it swaps the positions of the zebra and lead bloons in the sandbox GUI. It doubles the health of the layer, but fortified lead bloons have 4 health instead of 1 for some reason. And if you're enjoying this video, please use creator code Hbomb for any in-game purchases. It helps me out a lot. The Bionic Boomer gets +2 damage to Moab class bloons, and this upgrade makes him slightly taller. The Turbocharge ability makes the Boomer attack 7 times as fast and deal +1 damage for 10 seconds. Geraldo is the best hero for Turbocharge, as Jerry's Fire gains the 7 times attack speed boost when the ability is active. The Permacharge's ability doesn't grant extra attack speed. Instead, it grants extra damage and lasts 5 seconds longer. Geraldo is still the best hero for the Permacharge, as his Spicy Potion gains the extra damage and Pierce when the ability is active, and the Rejuve Potion resets its cooldown when needed. Bigger bombs literally make the bombs 20% larger, on top of increasing its blast radius by 50% and the Pierce by 6. While this does increase the Pierce of the first explosion for bombs that have secondary ones, it does not increase the Pierce for the first explosion for bomb shooters that release tertiary explosions. So the Bomb Blitz does not gain extra Pierce for its first explosion due to all of its bombs exploding 3 times. Interestingly, the really big bombs upgrade does not make the bombs any larger. Bloon Impact and Bloon Crush only push back bloons if they take damage from the attack. The lifespan of most bomb shooter explosions is 0.1 seconds. The water tower on middle of the road can fit 1 tower up to the size of a super monkey, and the tower placed up there is not blocked by line of sight. So a great monkey to build up there is a Bez, as it gets map-wide coverage when built as a 205. The Moab Mauler used to get extra damage to ceramics, making it an incredibly strong tower to spam in chimps. The Moab Assassin's ability has infinite range, ignores obstacles, can only target Moab class bloons, can only hit its target, and its damage soaks through blimp layers. This goes for the Eliminator's ability too, except it also deals 3 damage to nearby bloons. Both of these abilities are the explosive damage type, meaning they cannot hurt DDTs without additional help. Spa Pits is the 3rd longest map in BTD6, only behind Scrapyard and Logs. There's an Easter egg that lets you change Spa Pits into Tar Pits from BTD5, making the map much harder. From versions 28 to 39, the Frag Bombs upgrade gave the bomb shooter the normal damage type. Now, they stay explosive, but the fragments are sharp, so they can pop black bloons but not letter frozens. Unlike fragments, the secondary explosions from cluster bombs can re-hit the same target as the main bomb. Recursive Cluster causes every other cluster bomb to form 8 more clusters. The Bomb Blitz deals 2,000 damage to all bloons on screen, then instantly destroys all Moabs and non-blimps regardless of health. Using Ezeli's Totem or Lich's Soul draining lives count as lives lost and will trigger this ability. On Tinkerton, after the blast mark in the grass, bloons and blimps are slowed by 40%, and this includes bats. The Ring of Fire replaces its individual attacks with one single flame that deals 5 damage. In general, this deals way more damage than the previous upgrade, but less to blimps since hotshots could hit them with several tacks per attack. If you give the Inferno Ring extra pierce, it extends to its meteor too. The meteor can't retarget the same bloon twice, and if no new targets are found, it'll just fly off the map. There are 5 types of buffs that appear on 1-2 tree. Increased attack speed, damage, pierce, range, and a 10% discount. The Crucible of Steel and Flame's cooldowns get shorter with degrees, and because most of his DPS comes from them, it's extra important to get this guy as much power as you can. Scrapyard has a Crusher in the top middle of the map that can damage and stun balloons. The Crusher has a 60-second cooldown that can be reset with Geraldo's Rejuve Potion. Super Range Tax doesn't only give the Tack Shooter extra range, it also increases its pierce from 1 to 4. The large pierce boost that Super Range Tax grants makes it a very strong tower to start with in race events. A 1-2-0 can take out the first dozen rounds simultaneously when placed on a good bend. Each projectile from the Blade Maelstrom's ability deals 2 damage and has 100 pierce, making it very strong in race events, useful in Bloonarius, and great against rounds 63, 76, and 78. Even though upgrading the Blade Maelstrom to a Super Maelstrom buffs its main attack to have 3 more damage and be able to pop every type of balloon, the ability blades still only deal 2 damage and can't pop leads. Clicking on certain parts of the cabin triggers a special Friday the 13th Easter egg. The More Tax upgrade increases the number of tacks fired per shot from 8 to 10. However, when crosspathing with the Ring of Fire or Inferno Ring, it increases the main attack's damage by 1 since they only fire 1 projectile. While crosspathing this with the Maelstrom increases the ability duration and reverses the spin direction from clockwise to counterclockwise. Even More Tax ups this duration even more and makes the Inferno Ring's meteor attack deal 300 more damage. The Tack Sprayer not only increases the number of tacks fired per shot from 12 to 16, it also increases the pierce by 1. Overdrives function best when put near a loop, especially when placed directly under a section of the track. This makes all of its tacks fire from the center of the track, letting all of them hit balloons, dealing tons of damage. Ice monkeys can be placed on land or water. Ice monkeys that are tier 2 and below have their ceramic freeze durations cut in half. Permafrost slows the balloons it freezes, reducing their speed to 50% after they thaw out. This effect only lasts 2 layers, and the ice monkey pops one of them with its freeze, unless it's a ceramic where its outer layer has more than 1 health. The 50% slow is very useful against super ceramics and golden balloons. The flowers on Lotus Island can be clicked on to stun balloons within 40 units for 3 seconds, and Moab class balloons for 1 second. And each plant has a 180-second cooldown. Creating a VTSG on the podium turns all of the flowers purple. It's not just visual though, their stuns are increased to 5 seconds for balloons and 2 seconds for blimps. Ice shards can be affected by external damage buffs, but not pierce buffs. Ice shards permanently removes camo and regrow properties with its freeze attack. Embrittlement makes affected balloons take +1 damage and removes lead and frozen immunities for 2 seconds, letting it refreeze the balloons it's already hit, and the effect is reapplied with each attack. It also makes its ice shards strip the camo and regrow properties, unlike ice shards, which can only do that with its blasts. Super brittle is wild. It gets the normal damage type, letting it pop white balloons. It makes affected balloons take +4 damage from all sources for 3 seconds instead of 2, which stacks with the embrittlement debuff. It applies the permafrost effect to Moab class balloons, which permanently slows them by 25%. It spawns 6 ice shards that deal 5 damage each instead of 3 shards that each deal 2, and all effects soak through 6 layers instead of 3. The 520 Ice Monkey is the better crosspath for chimps where reliability is essential, but the 501 is better for bosses and free play. Its debuff already has permanent uptime, and reaching more of the track is preferred there, and refreeze is generally not needed except for when interacting with other ice monkeys. There are hidden Oompa Loompa monkeys on Candy Falls, and if you click them all in the right order, it plays a song and gives you the golden ticket hidden achievement. The Arctic Wind creates an aura around itself that slows balloons inside by 40% and allows land towers to be placed on water nearby. This slow effect can be buffed by external range buffs, but the water freezing radius cannot. The ice platform can only be increased by the larger radius upgrade or by progressing further down the middle path. If the Arctic Wind gets sold, moved away, or transformed by total transformation, all land towers that would end up floating on the water get sold. Crosspathing it with Cold Snap allows the aura to slow lead balloons. It also makes the Snowstorm's ability deal 1 damage to every balloon on screen, including blimps, and then freezes the balloons. balloons. This damage can be buffed, counts as a single attack, and has infinite pierce. The freeze duration on this ability is reduced to 3 seconds for white, zebra, and camo balloons, regardless on if the snowstorm can detect camos. If a snowstorm pops a Moab class balloon, it will not freeze the insides. If crosspath with cold snap, all non-Moab class frozen balloons will get the permafrost effect applied. The absolute zero can attack Moab class balloons, applying permafrost if crosspath that way. And this attack triggers the secondary freeze. The secondary freeze freezes all non-blimps on screen for 0.6 seconds and can refreeze balloons. The Cave Monkey on Frozen Over can be freed from the ice by hitting it with a Mortar Monkey 30 times. The Cave Monkey attacks every 1.1 seconds, has 5 pierce, deals 1 damage, and stuns balloons. Refreeze allows the Ice Monkey to target and damage frozen balloons and reapply the freeze effect. This is the only way for other Ice Monkeys to target and pop frozen balloons. Not even the MIB can override this because it's an inability to pop them, not a damage type issue. The 203 Cryo Cannon is able to pop every golden balloon until rounds 81 and up, where they gain the Zebra property, but that's easily taken care of with the MIB. Icicles deal 2 damage to balloons and 8 to blimps with its main attack, and every balloon it hits grows 3 icicles that damage balloons that pass over them. Blimps grow icicles too, even if they can't be frozen. The Icicle Impale is able to freeze Moab class balloons down to a set speed, which is not affected by difficulty, challenge rules, or even round ramping. Repeatedly clicking on the cauldron and carved makes it jump up in the air and produce a green beam of light. Glue gunners use a glue level system that determines which types can be overridden from other upgrade paths. If a glued balloon is glued by a higher level glue, its glue is overridden. Moab glue and above will not remove damage over time effects caused by corrosive glue or higher, because the damage over time is a separate debuff from the slowing effect. Glue from Jerry's Tube of Amazo Glue has a glue level of 5. The top path glue's puddles have more pierce when cross-pathed with the middle path, but stay on the track longer when cross-pathed with the bottom path. The Bloon Solver fires 2 globs of glue per shot instead of 1. The statue in the middle of hedge rotates when clicked, and the dart it's throwing is completely detached and just floating there, like we're playing Minecraft or something. Glue Splatter makes its projectiles splat upon impact instead of passing through its target. This splatter has a pierce of 4 and applies the same glue effects as the main projectile. This means a single shot can glue up to 5 balloons. The Glue Strike ability causes affected balloons to take +2 damage from all sources, including damage over time effects, and they take +3 if cross-pathed with corrosive glue. It also lets frozen and lead balloons be popped by monkeys that can't normally damage them. The Glue Storm ability glues all balloons on screen every second for 10 seconds instead of just applying once. But the cool part is that the re-glue rate is affected by external buffs like jungle drums. In chimps, the 051 crosspath is preferred most of the time as it doubles the storm's duration to 20 seconds, which is long enough to glue every DDT on round 95. But in boss events and free play, the 250's extra damage is better. The logs on logs block line of sight, but towers that are unaffected by obstacles can still damage the balloons when they're inside them. Clicking or tapping on the mushrooms causes them to shake and releases spores if done repeatedly. Stronger glue improves the glue's effect, reducing the balloon's speed from 0.5x to 0.25 times speed. Stronger glue is very useful for stalling super ceramics and for slowing balloons for the rubber to gold to convert more balloons for money generation in boss events. Moab glue slows blimps down to 62.5% speed. This pairs well with Moab presses as their knockback is a set distance and not based on the blimp speed like Pat Fusty's. Relentless glue causes balloons to create a splatter when popped. This splat stuns nearby balloons for 1 second and Moabs and DDTs for 0.25 seconds. BFBs and up are not stunned by these splatters. Super glue gets a 30 damage over time effect on Moab class balloons, and this can be upped even more with corrosive glue. Additionally, its on-pop splat pierce is increased from 6 to 11, can stun BFBs and ZOMGs now, and all stunnable blimps are stunned for 1 second. Just like the balloons. Unlike most glue gunners, the super glue can hit balloons that are already glued by itself, resetting the glue's effect. Building a tier 5 mermonkey on Luminous Cove lights up its corresponding marking, and if you light up all 3 carvings, you can click it to reveal a hidden entrance. Luminous Cove is the first map to use a music track from the trophy store as its default theme. Desperado's basic attack fires 2 shots from his pistol every time he attacks. There's a 0.1 second delay between these shots, and they cannot be affected by speed buffs. Between these bursts of 2, he has a 1.2 second attack cooldown, but it does not start until both shots have been fired. If he fires the first shot and there are no balloons inside his range when the second is supposed to fire, he will wait until he can fire his second shot. meaning he will only fire one shot the next time he attacks and won't start the attack cooldown until after the second shot. He does reload the burst at the end of every round though. His shots hit instantly without any travel time and cannot hit more than one bloon at a time even with pierce buffs. The quick draw upgrade increases Desperado's attack speed based on the distance between him and the closest bloon to him. His attack speed increases by 1% per unit of distance between them, up to a maximum of plus 50%. For reference, Desperado has 60 range. This is unaffected by bloons he can't target, like those behind obstacles or camo bloons when he doesn't have camo detection. Big Iron increases the number of shots Desperado fires when he attacks from 2 to 6 and his damage from 1 to 2. Twin Sixes doubles the number of shots Desperado fires when he attacks, but also halves the time it takes to unload each burst. So he fires 12 shots in the same amount of time Big Iron takes to fire 6. The Blazing Sun has an internal counter that starts at 0 and increases by 1 every time he fires a shot. This counter is capped at 75 and resets if the Blazing Sun doesn't attack for 0.88 seconds. What does this counter do? Well, once the counter reaches 55 or higher, each shot also creates an area of effect that sets bloons on fire, dealing solid damage to them for the next 12 seconds, but his attack cooldown slightly increases with each addition to this counter. Finally, if a bloon is destroyed by his shot or burn status, the counter reduces by 1. Interacting with the geysers on Sulfur Springs triggers animations and sound effects. If clicked in a specific order, it'll play a special sound cue with each one, and the fourth causes them all to erupt, but this can only be activated once each game. Bullseye adds a chance for the Desperado to crit, dealing 4 times damage. This chance starts at 2.5% and increases by 0.25% for every unit of distance the bloons are away from him. The Take Aim ability used to be bugged to reduce accuracy if crosspath instead of increasing it. Take Aim applies to the sub towers as well. On top of the extra damage, the Golden Justice gives each pistol shot an area of effect that can hit up to 8 bloons near the one he shoots. The Golden Justice's rifle has infinite pierce. In Freeplay, bloons get extra health and speed every round. XP decreases to 10% of normal rates after round 100. Past round 140, all rounds are randomly generated except for round 200. Rounds 163 and 263 are also randomized, but have a much narrower range of possible balloons. The Wanderer upgrade increases Desperado's attack speed by 45%, but reduces it by 15% for every tower in its range. Sub-towers or attacking air towers like the Helipilot or Rosalia do not count. Their bases do though. If Desperado has additional weapons, each weapon is only affected by the towers in its range. So you can have a 0% attack speed buff on his rifle, but a 45% buff on his pistol. Nomad increases Desperado's attack speed by 2% for every bloon in his range to a max of plus 50%. Unlike Quick Draw and Standoff, it is affected by bloons the Desperado can't target. This also gives Desperado an ability that triggers when a life is lost, that gives them extra range and attack speed and gives you extra money. But if you leak a bloon without losing a life, it will not trigger the effect. So if the Legend of the Night saves you with a black hole, or if your mana shield tanks the leak. Interestingly, losing soul barrier lives does count for some reason. The Enforcer upgrade gives Desperado a close range shotgun. Like its pistol attack, it fires in bursts of 2, but unlike the pistol, it always fires twice even if there are no bloons it can target after the first shot. The Desert Phantom Shrapnel applies a damage over time effect to any bloon it hits, and if a bloon hit by the shrapnel is popped within 4.55 seconds, it explodes for extra damage. The cash you get per pop gets reduced as games go on, starting on round 51 where it gets cut in half and goes down to 20% of normal on round 61. The Super Ceramic Layer is worth $87 instead of the normal Ceramics 1, but the actual amount of cash you get depends on what round you're on. Maim Moab stuns Moabs for 3 seconds, BFBs for 1.5, and ZOMGs and DDTs for 0.75 seconds. With the Shrapnel Shot Crosspath, its shrapnel can also stun blimps for 2/3 of the normal duration. The 402 Sniper can permastun a BFB, and with a minor attack speed buff like Jungle Drums, it can permastun a ZOMG or DDT. The Cripple Moab grants its bullets an area effect that deals 28 damage to up to 10 bloons near its main target. This AoE is the explosion damage type, so it can't pop black or zebra balloons. The Cripple's debuff only lasts 0.5 seconds against bads and bosses, so it's recommended to pair the Sniper with a Berserker Brew and Jungle Drums for higher uptime. On Water Park, the bloons on odd-numbered rounds take the lazy river underneath and move 10% slower than normal. The 110 Sniper is the cheapest non-hero solution to camo leads. and it's nice for round 42's camo rainbows, popping them down to camo blues. Shrapnel shot didn't always used to make a cone of shrapnel behind the target. Before version 17.0, they used to be spread out across 360 degrees. This added more strategy on where to place the snipers because you want the shrapnel shooting into the balloons behind the target, except for bouncing bullet snipers and above, because the bullets bounce so the shrapnel travels into the balloons regardless. Supply drop grants the sniper the ability to pop lead and frozen balloons, even without the full metal jacket upgrade. This does not extend to its shrapnel though. If you can stall the rounds long enough for 2 supply drop abilities per round, the sniper becomes more efficient than any banana farm. The elite sniper unlocks elite targeting for every sniper on screen. This option will target first if there are any balloons that are at least 75% of the way to the exit. If there aren't any balloons that far, they'll target the strongest non-Moab class balloon that spawns multiple children when popped, like ceramics and rainbows. And if there aren't any of those, they'll just target strong. The Polyphemus Eye gives monkeys inside a 10% discount, extra attack speed, and camo detection, but it closes every 10 rounds, disabling the towers inside, and you have to pay to reopen it. In version 48, Polyphemus was made much easier as the balloons now do 1 loop around the eye. The semi-auto sniper attacks about 6.12 times faster than the base sniper. Full auto rifle doubles its attack speed and grants +2 Moab class damage to its bullets and +1 damage to its shrapnel if crosspath that way. The elite defender bumps this extra blimp damage up to +4, but its shrapnel damage stays the same. It also gets extra attack speed the further the balloons are along the track and gets a temporary 4 times boost if you leak a balloon. At its maximum attack speed, the elite defender attacks 196 times faster than the base sniper. Covered Garden, Dark Dungeons, and Erosion were the winners of the 200k map contest competition held on r/BTD6. Advanced Intel allows the monkey sub to target balloons in other towers' ranges. If the other tower has camo detection, the sub inherits it. However, if the other tower can't see camos, the monkey sub cannot target camo balloons in their range, even if the sub itself has camo detection. Additionally, detecting camo via Advanced Intel doesn't count as a camo buff, so it cannot be blocked by FaZe's radar jam. Submergence support is the cheapest decamo option outside of counter-espionage, though I don't really know if I count a ninja as a decamoer. The balloons move 25% faster when traveling over the water on Quarry. Quarry's regular balloon path is the longest of all intermediate maps. You can dig up a fossil and egg on this map if you click the 13 correct spots. The damage pulse of the reactor has 50 pierce, while the decamo pulse has 100 pierce. Balloons hit by the damaging pulse are irradiated for the same duration as its attack cooldown, which prevents plutonium reactors and energizers from stacking their damage. The energizer reduces every monkey's cooldown by 20%, and for water-based towers in its range, it reduces theirs by 40%. Heroes in its range gain plus 50% XP from the ends of rounds and sacrifices, but not from purchasing levels. The pierce of both its decamo and damage auras is increased to 1000, and its damage is increased from 1 to 5 with 5 bonus ceramic damage. The reactor and energizer upgrades also buff the damage of their darts, including air bursts if they're crosspath that way. Bloonarius Prime's right track is only used on prime numbered rounds, like 5, 7, and 11. There is also a unique balloon path that can only be taken by boss balloons, where it travels over the rocks to go from the left side of the map to the right. Repeatedly clicking the top part of the right leg makes a crocodile appear. The Nautic Siege Core has built-in camo detection, but still can't target camo balloons within the range of towers that can't see camos. It also fires special missiles at every balloon that enters the map, not just blimps. Its damage soaks through blimp layers, and each missile generates an explosion that damages other balloons near its target. The Subagon's radiation pulse can hit balloons irradiated by plutonium reactors and energizers, and vice versa. Its cooldown buff is similar to the energizer, but it also affects Paragon in its range, giving them 10% shorter cooldowns. It also gives heroes and subs some wild buffs that will overlay on screen. The map balance consists of 8 different tracks. The bottom 4 are all the same length, while the other 4 are all different. There's an Easter egg on Encrypted that lets you release the legendary Merkle to help you defend against the balloons. Heat-tipped darts give the reactor and energizer pulse extra damage to lead balloons. Ballistic missiles ignore obstacles and will attack balloons regardless of line of sight. The missiles land directly on their target 0.6 seconds after being fired. The First Strike missile can damage all balloon types and can hit camo balloons even if the sub itself can't see them. The First Strike ability does 10,000 damage to its target and creates an explosion that does 350 damage to nearby balloons. This explosion also damages the main target, so it'll take a total of 10,350 damage from the ability. Since this soaks through blimp layers, you can time this ability to one-shot a damaged bad on round 100. Pairing it with a Bloontonium reactor lets you use First Strike twice on round 100, even on shorter maps like Quad. The Preemptive Strike fires a missile at every blimp that enters the map, dealing 750 damage to the target, but it doesn't soak through blimp layers. This upgrade also buffs the ability to deal 20,000 damage to its target and bumps up the AoE to 1,000 damage. This is great for countering DDTs, but needs a sub-commander to one-shot the fortified ones on round 99. This also reduces the cooldown of First Strike by 15 seconds, making it a strong bad counter as you can use its ability twice on round 100 even on shorter maps. Bazaar and Geared won the 50k map contest competition. In version 23, the middle section of Bazaar was widened to now fit medium-sized monkeys. There are a few fun secrets on this map though. The Monklish on the T-stall sign reads KLTCO, the Monklish on the building sign reads closed, clicking the basket repeatedly causes a kiwi bird to pop out, clicking the lamp in the bottom right repeatedly causes a spirit to pop out, like a genie, and clicking the cat in the stall several times causes it to meow. The Twin Guns upgrade doubles the attack speed of the monkey sub's darts, but only increases the attack speed of ballistic missiles by 14%, and the Submergence supports pulse by 42%. Airburst darts reduces the pierce of the sub's main dart to 1, and this can't be buffed. However, when they hit a balloon, they instantly split into 3 new projectiles. Shots from the Twin Guns and Triple Guns alternate barrels from left to right. The Sub Commander doubles the damage of subs in its radius and increases their pierce by 4, and this buff also affects the Sub Commander itself. This buff does not double the damage of the First Strike's ability, but it does increase the pierce of the explosion. Adora's Temple changes to a dark version with red water if you make a Vengeful Adora there. The Buccaneer primarily fires its left cannon. However, if there's a balloon on the other side as well, the ship will also fire its right cannon at the same time. The second cannon is considered a separate attack, so when it fires from both sides, it consumes twice as many acidic mixture dips and berserker brew charges. Double shot increases the number of darts fired from each cannon from 1 to 2, and if grape shot is purchased, it also gives +1 grape per attack. This used to double the number of grapes fired, but update 37 nerfed it to where it is today. According to the quest A Strange Bloonomaly, the house on Haunted is Midnight Mansion. The aircraft carrier deploys 3 planes that follow the same targeting priority as the Buck. They have infinite range and can fly over obstacles. The forward and radial darts of the planes have different stats, with the radial ones having more damage and pierce, but they don't seek balloons and attack much slower. If crosspathed with grape shot, the radial darts are replaced with forward shooting grapes, but they keep the same stats, so 4 pierce and 9 damage each. With hot shot, the grapes can pop leads and frozen balloons, but not purples, and they apply a fire damage over time effect that deals 4 damage every half second for 3.1 seconds. Their Moab missiles can only hit and damage blimps. Upgrading this to a carrier flagship gives the Moab missiles the normal damage type, letting them damage DDTs. The carrier flagship grants an attack speed buff to every monkey on screen that's in the water, as well as monkey aces. This includes mer monkeys, ice monkeys, Pat Fusty, the Sun Temple, and the True Sun God if they're placed in water. The carrier flagship has 2 platforms that you can place monkeys on. These platforms can only fit towers with a medium footprint or smaller, and they are considered land. Towers placed on the platforms have increased height, with the right platform being higher than the left. Streambed was one of the first maps ever revealed before the release of the mobile version of Bloons TD6. Speaking of which, Cracked, Streambed, Shoots, Rake, and Spice Islands were the 5 original intermediate maps included upon release. If upgraded to a Navarch, the bow will relocate towers on the platforms to the new ones, but only keep the first tower placed on each platform. The Navarch of the Seas has 10 grappling hooks that automatically target and grapple the strongest Moab class balloons on the map from any distance, taking them down instantly. Each hook can take down a Moab, BFB, or DDT, or 2 hooks can work together to pull in a ZOMG. Each hook can only activate once before recharging, and recharging only starts after all 10 hooks have been used, and it takes 10 seconds, regardless of degree. The Navarch generates $3,200 per round and has its own Trade Empire buff that applies to merchantmen or flavored trades. This buff can affect up to 40 merchantmen and is considered separate from the Trade Empire's buff, so both can be active on the same merchantman. The Protect the Yacht map was created as part of a cross-platform promotion with Mr. Beast and is based off his video Protect the Yacht, Keep It. Bloons on the shipping containers near the bottom of the screen are completely invincible, even to screen clearing attacks like the Ground Zero. Grape Shot adds an additional attack to the buck that fires 5 sharpened grapes at a time. This has a different attack speed than it starts and consumes AMD and Berserker Brew buffs separately from them. Hot Shot's damage over time can't be stacked, but the damage and/or tick rate get buffed with tier 4 upgrades and above, like the aircraft carrier. The cannon ship upgrade replaces its dart attack with bombs that explode on contact and spawn 8 frags that fly in all directions. Its frags can pop 1 balloon, their pierce and damage can't be buffed, and they don't hit the same target they bursted from. Monkey Pirates shoots 3 bombs instead of 1 and ups the damage of its bombs and grapes. The downside is that its single target damage is still relatively low, since the frags can't hit the same target that the bombs do. It also gets the Moab takedown ability that destroys 1 Moab, BFB, or DDT, prioritizing the strongest balloon on screen. The Pirate Lord ups this ability to having 6 hooks in total and adds the capability of dragging in ZOMGs at the cost of 3 hooks each. The blimps we named last fact still only take 1 hook to drag in. Outside of chimps and deflation, hooked balloons grant plus 100% pop income. Enchanted Glade's right lane is about 20% longer than its left one. Last Resort is the revenge version of Resort set in a wintry version of that map with more obstacles and partially obscured with snow. On top of extra income, the Trade Empire gives merchantmen plus 1 damage, plus 1 ceramic damage, and plus 1 Moab damage to all attacks. This buff extends to flavored trades, but they also get a larger cash bonus, making them get prioritized by the Trade Empire's buffs before any merchantmen. Flavored trades reduces the attack cooldown of Grape Shot from 1.3 to 0.75 seconds, and it improves Hot Shot's burn damage from 2 to 4. They also provide a buff to towers in their range, increasing their sell value by 4%, stacking up to 3 times for a max of 12%. This cap makes towers sell for 82% of their cost. Contrary to what the description states, the Trade Empire does not boost the damage of all merchantmen. Only the 20 that are affected by its income buff receive the damage boost. Ancient Portal contains 4 pedestals, with each of them granting 2 buffs to heroes placed on them. They have camo detection and the normal damage type, extra range and damage, shorter cooldowns and extra XP, and faster attack speed and more pierce. When 15,000 balloons are popped within 70 units of the top right portal, the 3 totems can be activated to create an explosion. When activated, it deals damage to every balloon on screen and stuns them for 9 seconds. There was a Chimps boss event back in week 176. Here, the Supermines and Ray of Doom could solo normal Bloonarius, getting you the Davids vs Goliath, 2 NPC, and 2 TC all in one event. But that was 277 Bloons facts. If you want a bunch more, click this video right here.